All right, if you're running a business in Kuwait and you're importing from China, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You find that perfect product, you hammer out a great price, and then boom, the hard part hits actually getting it here. That whole journey from the factory floor to your warehouse, it can be a massive headache, but it really doesn't have to be. Today, we are going to break down this whole process and show you how to flip your shipping strategy from a problem into a serious competitive advantage.
I mean, this quote just nails it, right? You put in all that work. You find a great supplier. You get a fantastic deal. But if the shipping goes sideways, all that effort, and maybe more importantly, your profit margin just evaporates. Getting this piece of the puzzle right isn't just a nice to have. It is absolutely critical if you want to survive and grow.
So let's talk about the sheer scale of this. The trade route between China and Kuwait, it is a massive, bustling highway of goods. And yeah, with that much volume, you're going to get a lot of complexity. But here's the secret, and it's a good one. That complexity is actually an opportunity, because if you can understand it and navigate it better than your competition, you're the one who's going to make the smarter, faster, and yeah, more profitable decisions.
And when I say massive, I mean it. We're talking about billions with a B, billions of dollars in goods flowing every single year. This is not some small stream. It is a major economic artery. Think of your business as a boat on this river. Mastering the logistics, understanding the currents, that doesn't just give you an edge. It's like strapping a motor to your boat while everyone else is paddling.
Okay, so how do we actually do it? How do you get your stuff from a factory in China all the way to your warehouse in Kuwait? It sounds complicated, I know, but it really just boils down to four main options. The best way to think about it is like having four different tools in your logistics toolbox. So let's open it up and see which tool is right for which job. And here they are, your four main paths. You've got air freight, that's your go-to for speed. Then there's sea freight, the champion of saving money. Next up is this all-in-one service we'll talk about called DDP. That's for when you just want it to be simple. And finally, express courier for those super urgent small packages. Seriously, just picking the right one of these four is the first big step to getting your supply chain totally under control.
Okay, I love this chart because it's basically your cheat sheet. It lays out all the big trade-offs at a glance. You can see it right away, right? If you need speed, you're looking at air or express. But it's going to cost you. If your budget is the number one thing, sea freight is your absolute best friend, but you got to be patient. And DDP, well, that's your peace of mind option. Just looking at this, what's jumping out at you as the most important thing for your next shipment?
All right, let's zoom in a little. We're going to focus on the two heavyweights of international logistics, air freight versus sea freight. Honestly, for most of the commercial cargo you're ever going to ship, your choice is going to come down to one of these two giants.
So here's the core question, the one you have to ask yourself for every single shipment. Am I buying time or am I saving money? That's it. Air freight is you paying a premium to buy speed and reliability. Sea freight is all about protecting your profit margins and having the power to move huge amounts of stuff. Just getting this one concept, that is the absolute key to making the right call.
So, when does it make sense to pay that extra cash for air freight? Well, think about it. You need a last-minute restock right before a big holiday. You're shipping expensive electronics that you don't want sitting on a boat for a month. Or maybe your whole production line is stopped waiting for one critical part. Here's the rule of thumb. If the cost of waiting is higher than the cost of shipping, air freight is a no-brainer.
And what about sea freight? Oh, this is the workhorse. This is the engine room of your business for all those big, planned-out orders. We're talking furniture, construction materials, huge shipments of consumer goods, anything where you can plan weeks in advance. If you can build that 20 or 30-day transit time into your planning, the savings they're not just big, they're transformative. You could literally be cutting your shipping bill by 70, even 80% compared to air. That's huge. Okay, great. So you've decided sea freight is for me. I want to save that money. Perfect. But wait, you're not done deciding just yet. Now you've got another really important choice to make. Are you going to book a whole container just for your stuff, or are you cool with sharing?
This is where LCL comes in. It stands for less than container load. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a carpool for your cargo. It is a total game changer, especially for smaller businesses or if you're just testing out a new product. You get all the awesome cost savings of sea freight, but you don't have to wait until you can fill a massive container. You just pay for the little bit of space that you actually use.
And this table breaks it down perfectly.
FCL, that's your full container load, is going to be faster and safer, right? Because your stuff gets sealed in a box in China and doesn't get opened again till it gets to you. LCL is cheaper for smaller shipments, but since your stuff is being bundled with other people's, there's more handling at the ports. That can add a little time and, a slightly higher risk. The magic number to remember here is about 10 CBM. That's cubic meters. Once your shipment gets bigger than that, it's almost always cheaper to just go ahead and book your own full container.
Okay, so what if you're looking at all this air, sea, FCL, LCL, and you're just thinking, wow, this sounds like a ton of work and a whole lot of potential headaches? Well, you're not wrong. But thankfully, there is a solution that was designed for people who'd much rather focus on their actual business than on logistics. And it's called DDP. I mean, does any of this sound familiar? Chasing down paperwork, trying to coordinate between your supplier, a freight forwarder, and a customs broker, stressing out about calculating the right duties and taxes just so your shipment doesn't get held up for weeks? Yeah, it can feel like a whole separate, full-time job you never, ever wanted.
So DDP stands for Delivered Duty Paid, and it is the ultimate we handle everything service. Your freight forwarder takes care of every single step. Pick up from the factory, all the export documents, the actual shipping, customs clearance in Kuwait, and the final delivery right to your warehouse. And here's the best part. You get one single price, all in, right up front. No surprise fees, no hidden costs. Your stuff just shows up at your door. It is literally the easy button for shipping.
And what's really cool is that just because you choose this simple, all-inclusive route doesn't mean you give up your choices. You can still pick what matters most. You can get DDP Air, which combines that easy button service with the speed of a plane for your urgent stuff. Or you can get DDP C, which pairs that same convenience with the massive cost savings of a boat for your bigger orders. You really get the best of both worlds, total simplicity and a strategic choice. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's boil this all down into a super simple 4-question framework. Think of this as your go-to checklist that you can use for every single shipment to make sure you're making the absolute best call every single time. First up, question 1. And it's number 1 for a reason. How fast do you need this? Your timeline is the single biggest factor. If the answer is like next week, you're looking at air. If you've got a month or more to work with, sea freight is going to be your best friend. Question 2. How big is your stuff? What's the weight and the volume? See, air freight is mostly priced by weight, so a few small boxes under 100 kilos, that's a perfect fit. But if you've got anything big, heavy, or just plain bulky, flying it is going to cost a fortune. That pushes you right over to sea freight, where they care more about the space it takes up. All right, question 3 is all about you. How much of this do you actually want to deal with yourself? If you have the expertise or a team that handles this stuff, and you're cool with managing customs, then standard air or sea freight is perfect. But if your time is way more valuable spent on, actually growing your business, then that hands-off DDP solution is a lifesaver. And finally, question 4, the bottom line. What's your budget? And it's not just about the shipping quote, it's about your bigger strategy. Is getting this product to market super fast worth paying a premium? Or is your number 1 priority keeping your costs as low as humanly possible so you can be competitive on price? Your answer to that question really seals the deal. And that's really it. By asking those 4 simple questions, how urgent, how big, how much hassle, and how much money, you go from being confused to being in control. You now have a powerful framework to confidently pick the absolute best shipping method for your business. So, your next shipment is waiting. The only question is, which path are you going to choose?